Operation Lockout, the suburban spy war you never saw coming. I'd barely made it back from a 2-week, off-the-books Black Ops mission in the Swiss Alps, freezing temperatures, a courier takedown, a cipher embedded in 3 kilos of dry pasta. Don't ask. When I rolled up to my house in North Pine Hills and saw the neon orange sticker plastered across my front door, it screamed in bold black letters, "Access revoked by HOA Security Authority." Yeah. Welcome home. Now, I'd had a few strange returns in my line of work. One time I came back to find a raccoon squatting in my attic. Another time my security system was tripped by a Girl Scout who somehow triggered a facial recognition alarm. But this was new. I bent down, picked a twig off the sidewalk, dug a hairpin out of the tread of my boot, and popped the lock like I was opening a beer. And just like that, I was back in my house before Linda Cranston, the power-hungry president of our HOA, could even scream property violation. But let me back up. 3 hours earlier, I was still strapped into a cargo seat on a military transport jet, smelling like jet fuel and tactical regret. My only goals: hot shower, strong coffee, 12 hours of uninterrupted sleep in my own bed. I'd been awake for 42 hours straight. My neck still had the thermal patch from the Alpine mission, and my duffel bag reeked of adrenaline and unspoken trauma. Everything seemed fine until I turned onto my street. Something felt off. My front yard, normally groomed to botanical perfection thanks to my landscaper's dedication, was untouched. No trimmed hedges. No mowed grass. My sarcastic welcome mat that used to say, "Come back with a warrant," was gone. In its place was one that read, "Compliance starts at the door." That was the first sign. Then I tried the door. My key didn't work. Not the front, not the back, not the garage keypad. I flipped the key upside down in case I was too sleep-deprived to function. Nothing. Then I spotted it. A bright orange notice stuck to the window frame. It said the property had been temporarily seized under Article 12C of Community Code Conduct. My heart, still used to reacting to enemy fire, kicked into overdrive. For context, yes, I own my home outright. Paid cash. Yes, I live in an HOA neighborhood. No, I never liked the HOA, especially Linda. She once fined my neighbor for flying a flag that clashed with her seasonal lawn flamingos. But this? Changing my locks while I was overseas? That was more than HOA overreach. That was hostile occupation. So I did what any rational, sleep-deprived operative would do: marched straight to the HOA office. It's a 5-minute walk down a trail that Linda once claimed was aggressively curved. She was sitting at her glass desk, sipping tea from a mug that said, "I'm not bossy, I'm authoritative," and pretending she didn't see me. "Oh," she said with a condescending smirk. "Back already?" "From what?" I asked. "Well," she said in a tone that sounded like a dying clarinet, "you were gone for some time." Neighbors expressed concern. Unusual vehicles, odd hours. There was a vote. "We deemed your property security risk adjacent." I blinked. Security risk adjacent? She nodded like she'd just given me a cancer diagnosis. "You violated Articles 3B, 5D, and 11. Are those even real?" I asked. "They are now," she said smugly. She handed me a laminated infraction list. Apparently my grass texture was inconsistent with community standards. My garage door was too secure. My garbage was suspiciously timed. My favorite? Lack of seasonal cheer. She gave me a visitor pass for my own home. Valid for 72 hours. I left without saying another word. Back at the house, I studied the new Lockasmart deadbolt. Expensive, but installed by an amateur. I knelt, used the twig and hairpin, and popped the lock in under 15 seconds. Walked inside. Dropped my bag. From across the street, I heard Linda shriek, "You can't do that. That's a violation." I leaned back outside. "Linda," I said, "I teach lock bypassing at Langley. Update your protocols." Her jaw moved, but no sound came out. I shut the door, brewed a cup of coffee, and started checking my vents for bugs. Because this wasn't about seasonal cheer anymore. This was deeper. The next day, I started investigating. First step? Walk the dog. I don't have a dog, but people don't question a guy walking an invisible golden retriever named Biscuit. It lets you listen in unnoticed. By block 3, I overheard 2 retirees gossiping about the guy on the corner with blackout curtains. That was me. Then I saw a white pest control van parked across from my house. Seemed normal until I noticed 5 antennas on the roof and thermal stickers on the side. The guy inside wore a comms headset. When he saw me watching, he started the engine and drove off. No logo. No number. Just a barcode that didn't scan. Surveillance. That night, I ran a frequency sweep with a handheld detector. Pinged a signal 2 houses down. Military-grade bandwidth coming from a birdhouse. A decorative one perched in Linda's yard. Nobody wires a birdhouse unless they're watching someone. Probably me. Time to escalate. I called in a favor from Lou, a semi-retired hacker and former Navy crypto analyst. He lives in a shack with satellite-grade encryption. I once helped him with an offshore problem involving a corrupt Swiss banker and a bottle of rum. He owed me. We went for a midnight recon at the HOA office. Lou picked the lock with my expired Blockbuster card. Inside, the office smelled like lavender and paranoia. We found a room marked HOA compliance, storage staff only. That's never a good sign. Lou cracked the keypad. Inside was a server rack straight out of Langley. Feeds from multiple homes. USB drives labeled by street names. Surveillance logs. Timelines of when residents left for work. Trash reports. Even grocery data. Then I saw a folder with my real namey agency name. Linda Colt have gotten that. Someone high up was involved. Lou restored a deleted message on a tablet. A chat log from someone calling themselves Sable Eagle. The message read, "Target still unaware. Local puppet compliant. Proceeding as scheduled. Interference will be neutralized if necessary." Linda was the puppet. This wasn't about HOA fines. It was a full surveillance net. Possibly for blackmail. Possibly for recruiting. Maybe worse. I downloaded the entire server to a secure flash drive. Wiped all logs with my name. This was bigger than I'd feared. I played it cool the next morning. Showed up to the HOA cookout in a Hawaiian shirt and aviators. Told everyone I'd been in Montana writing a novel about tree spirits. Linda twitched like a busted AI. She handed me a flyer for in-home compliance checks. I feigned curiosity and asked who created the program. She mentioned a consulting firm but claimed the name was classified for security. Bingo. I had what I needed. Phase 2, disruption. First, I scrambled all camera feeds with a looping image of empty streets. Then I reprogrammed Linda's surveillance drone to follow her car. During a yard inspection, I triggered every sprinkler. Linda slipped, fell into gnome territory. A neighbor caught it on video. Viral by dinner. Then came the barbecue. I hosted a fully compliant backyard party. Permits filed. Noise levels within range. All decor approved. Halfway through, I rolled out a projector and said, "Let's review our surveillance upgrades." I played sanitized footage just enough to show the network without tipping my hand. A graph showing data exports to foreign servers. Screenshots of suspicious tech. Linda tried to kill my power. Too bad I'd rerouted my house through a backup generator. She stormed off. A neighbor offered her a hot dog. Reddit exploded. The message was clear, this wasn't about safety. This was control. That night, I saw an access ping on my VPN. Not local. It bounced off a satellite. Whoever was behind the network now knew I was poking around. They were escalating. So was I. Lou and I reviewed recent footage. A black van showed up every 12 hours at a nearby house for exactly 43 minutes. Thermal scan showed 2 men, gear in hand, pulling data. The resident? A retired postal worker and a cat. Unless the cat was a spy, someone had installed a listening post in her attic. More data linked to Sable Eagle. More photos of me, Lou, and 3 other former federal agents in the neighborhood. The HOA wasn't just nosy. It was a recruitment and surveillance trap for ex-operatives. And Linda? Just the smiling face of it. Final phase, exposure. I set a trap. Placed a fake classified case on my porch with labels like confidential asset disposal. Linda took the bait in under 2 hours. Camera captured every second. Inside was a mix of fake documents, encrypted maps, and a fake order naming Linda as a liaison to a private intel firm. All believable. All fake. She panicked. Ran to the office. Then a man arrived. Not HOA. Not a resident. It was Bishop, a disgraced former CIA operative who'd vanished 5 years ago. He shredded the documents and told Linda, "If you talk, you vanish." Got it all on camera. Sent the footage to a local journalist, a federal contact, and an independent media outlet. 3 packages. Triple insurance. The next day, I hosted a seminar at the library. How I got back into my own house in 12 seconds. People laughed. Took notes. Linda sat silently in the back, pale. By evening, the story broke. Suburban spy network busted. Linda vanished. The HOA collapsed. A volunteer council replaced it. The neighborhood breathed again. Weeks later, I got a letter sealed with wax. No return address. You weren't the only one they were watching. You reminded us to watch back. I burned it. But I knew the truth. We were never alone. Just distracted. Now, my home is locked down for real. No smart tech. No cloud access. Just old-school protection. And on my front mat, it says, "Try me." Because now someone's watching the watchers. And this time it's the right people.